Last season, we proved that our youth academy only squad could hang in the Premier League, but now it's time to see just how good we can be. Welcome back to our youth academy only FC26 career mode with Warrington FC, the club that we made up. We're entering Season 7 to start this episode, and in these first 6 years, this team has grown a ton, and we've gotten to be quite talented with some very good overall players, particularly in our attack. Our attack is filled with 3 players with the label one of the world's best, and they certainly play like it oftentimes, no matter the competition. But last year we nearly qualified for the Champions League, but a very poor finish to the season had us fall all the way down to 8th in the Premier League. But seeing as how our goal was not to get demoted from the Prem, still a very good season. Also, last episode I talked about how it is time to start accelerating this series a bit. The lower viewer count on the series, as well as NBA 2K27, my favorite game to play on the channel, coming out later this week. It's time to wrap this story up, but I'm not done telling the story of this squad. I think we've still yet to see the best from this squad, despite how good some of these players are. I still think, especially on the defense, we can get a lot better. We still have more time to play with this new formation that we debuted a season ago that I think went really well, and we still have to not only just qualify for the Champions League, but we have to win it as well as the Premier League. I still want to accomplish those goals. I don't know if I'll ultimately ever get to playing with the national team. I think we at the very least built a team that is full of players that would make the USA national team. I found out a little while back I didn't even get the World Cup version of the game, so I wouldn't have been able to play in the World Cup. We would have been able to play some other tournament with the USA team. So maybe that can be a goal that we introduce if I end up playing FC27 or if I end up playing FC28, whatever it may be. I don't know about all that yet. All I know is that the next series I'm playing is NBA 2K. But let's get into this episode. So what I'm planning to do is probably go a couple seasons here today. Kind of depends on how Season 7 itself goes. Because over the next, I don't want it to be any more than like 3 videos. I want to accomplish our goals and also just kind of see where the careers of these guys start to go after that with a long-term sim. But I'm hoping we can go over a few years in these next couple of episodes, really kind of wrap up the story of this team before we see where they end up kind of in history as their careers. Because all these guys, I mean, our oldest stud is Oliver Kuhn at 23. So there's still a lot of years in front of a lot of these guys. But we got to win the Champions League. And so how many episodes we'll have left will kind of depend on how long it takes us to win the Champions League and the Premier League. I honestly don't think it'll take all that long. The biggest change to this year's team will be Elias Ferre joining the everyday starting lineup. Yunus Aman will be moved to be our primary substitute at the center back spot. That'll get a pretty big upgrade over Fraser, who has been that guy at a 71. We will lose some playing styles as Fraser has 6 and Aman doesn't have any, but Aman's just a guy who's been with us since the beginning, so I'm not just going to get rid of him. He'll be a substitute for us unless he requests to be transferred away, which I could certainly see happening. Also, what I'm going to be doing for the remainder of this series, I kind of talked last episode about not doing any more wheel spins just to kind of save some time. And we've been doing, obviously, the 1 loan per position group limit for, each position group: attack, midfield, defense, and goalkeeper. I'm going to keep doing that. And then to replace the spin of the wheel, I'm just going to have 1 wild card. So I can have 1 additional loan that can be any one position. And that's going to just kind of replace the spinning of the wheel, and will just give me a little bit more freedom to choose from here on out. And we'll probably still have people like requesting to be transferred because we can't meet their contract demands or their role demands or whatever it might be. But we promoted a lot of guys onto our senior team at the end of last episode. So we have some decisions to make in terms of who we want to be sending out on loan. You know what? I've actually changed my mind. Since we're just going really quickly through seasons now, I'll just stop my limit on loanees. I'm just going to loan out whoever the heck I want. And so that's going to be the plan. And whoever develops, because at this point, other than maybe a couple of spots, I don't know how often we're really going to be switching starters, but maybe a loan can change one or two spots, which could create some intrigue for these last several seasons here in the series. So yeah, there's going to be a bunch of guys out on loan. It's too overpowered in my mind, but since we're at the end of the series, why not? Why not? We just got almost a $250 million offer for Patrick Higgins. I mean, it's a good thing money ain't an issue because, jeez. We're kicking off Season 7 against an opponent I really wanted to play. So being able to play them first game of the season feels nice. And of course, I'm talking about Manchester City. The team that really kind of took us to the woodshed last year. More than really, I feel like we've been taken to the woodshed in a while since we played a Premier League team back when we were in like League One, I think. So hoping for a better performance here in Season 7. Higgins into the box, looking for a pass. He finds Joe White. Oh, man, that was a good chance. Stewart wins the ball out of the air. Gets the ball back, hands it off to Higgins. Higgins with the pass up to Joe White, and that one was a beauty of an attack. Joe White just running by the defense with all that pace, giving himself an easy look right inside the box. A couple of really good Joe White chances early on in this matchup. Erling Haaland, he'll take the shot outside the box. That certainly had quite a bit of zip to it. It'll result in a corner for Manchester City. Comes in, and Haaland with the header. Saved by Kuhn. Haaland ahead to Williams Jr. Towards the middle, up to Reginders, and that is off of the crossbar. Nearly the equalizing goal. Back on the attack. It's Manchester City again. Haaland being pursued by Ratcliffe. And Ratcliffe may be one of the few guys that can hang physically with Haaland. Playing football right now. And Williams Jr. going for the aerial kick there. And it did not find its way close to the goal. I believe that's called a bicycle kick, although I'm not 100% confident in that. As Stewart has that shot saved. Clark lofting up for Marcus Nelson. That is saved away by the Manchester City defense, and that will take us to the half. 1-0 in favor of Warrington FC. We got that early goal. Since then, it's been pretty well balanced. Both teams have had a couple of solid attacks, and here's Edward Johansson in space. He has serious speed. He's got his pace up to 99. And he's showing it off there with the assist to Marcus Nelson to extend our lead. First goal of the season for our star striker. And it was Edward Johansson putting in most of the work there, including laying out a beautiful pass right in front of Marcus. I don't think the goalkeeper was expecting that shot. Manchester City with the attack up next, and Oliver Kuhn picks up another save. He's been playing pretty well here to start this season. Williams Jr. Oh, man, what a pass. But Kuhn was prepared. He continues his strong performance. And that shot will go wide. More Manchester City attacks here. They've really picked things up over the last 15 minutes or so. And into the box. It's saved by Kuhn, but off of the deflection. It's Reginders. I don't know how to say this guy's name. I got to be honest. I apologize because he's actually really good. But Ratcliffe just couldn't keep up off the deflection. And that was a narrow window to score that ball. 2-1 now in favor of Warrington. Cross comes in, and it's a second goal in a matter of just a few minutes for Manchester City, who have really dominated the last 15 or 20 minutes of this one, to come back and tie things up at 2 apiece. Some really great crosses from Manchester City in this one. And their guys can really play the ball out of the air quite well. Holland with it. Now Manchester City seeking the lead after being behind 2-0. Jermaine Ratcliffe shuts down that pass. But it finds its way into the box anyway, and the curving shot is just wide. That one was dangerous. Now it's Warrington trying to take back the lead. Edward Johansson, he'll take the deep shot. That is saved. We're into extra time now. Each team maybe gets one more attack out of this one to try and break the tie on the counterattack. Goes Warrington. Out to Edward Johansson. Joe White with it. Up to Wagana. Back to White. Looking for the shot. Joe White into King, who subbed in for Matthew Stewart and just didn't get a ton of power on that shot. We ended up getting a solid look to end this one and maybe steal it in the final seconds, but that's probably the player that Manchester City wanted taking our final shot. So, we won't exact full revenge on Manchester City for destroying us last season, but we at least showed that we can hang with them. And Oliver Kuhn gets a 6.8 after what I thought was a really, really good start to this one. Just ultimately, he allowed 2 goals. Add a new name to the list of players who have been called up to their national teams is Alex Cook, our backup goalkeeper. He is, I don't know if he's going to be the main goalkeeper, but he will be on the national team for the United States at that spot. All right, we've just gotten past the transfer window at the end of August, the summer transfer window, and these are all the players that we have out on loan. A lot more than we've had in years past since I took off the restriction. We're already seeing some pretty big boosts to guys like Peter Miller, +6 already. So he'll end up having a really good year. He can play Cam, which we don't have in our currents, which is his main, which is unfortunate, but he can also play center mid and CDM. So we'll see what he looks like at the end of his loan. We also have +4 for Baker here. We have +5 for Freddie Bowden and +5 for Jaden De Bruyne. So yeah, a lot of people out on loan. Hopefully we get some big boosts throughout, and that'll really increase the quality of it. At the very least, our substitutes, because right now our substitutes aren't great. Our starting lineup is pretty good, but when we have to go to our substitutes, we're starting to get a little bit better there, I guess, but we could certainly stand to improve even more. Time for a mid-season update, and we're going to start here updating the Youth Academy and where we are at. We have some new exciting players here. I think we have some center backs with some real potential between Michael Bennett and Isaac Allen here on the team. CDM Riley Swift is very good. I think Benjamin Shipper might just be a backup, but he looks pretty good. Nicholas Lewis is a very good young prospect. He was added as a left mid. We've since taught him how to play on the wings. We, of course, have our starters kind of locked down at that spot, but could be our main backup replacing Jesse Miller. And then we just got Tyler Gordson, who I think is a very good looking striker. We also have Noah Delanoy at the striker spot. So here is an updated look at where we are at in the Youth Academy. As for the guys on loan here at the midseason points, Clement only +2, probably a little bit underwhelming there, especially Cameron Jackson not going up a single overall yet on loan. That's really disappointing. Dehan is up 2, Gordson's up 3, +6 for Bowden, +1 only for Fraser, +7 for Jaden De Bruyne, +6 for Byrne Baker, and +7 for Peter Miller. +3 for Russell Fraser, up to a 77. And then our new top rated overall player is Marcus Nelson, the first to reach 93 overall. Higgins is done developing. Kuhn's done developing. So he'll probably be our highest overall player really until he's done developing, I would imagine. As for where we are in the standings halfway through the season, we're actually a little bit lower than where we finished last year. We were 8th at the end of last season. We are 12th currently. There is obviously very little difference, especially up to the 9 spot. We're only 1 point behind it. So that part is pretty compact, and there's only 5 points difference all the way up to the 5 spot. I think the top 4 is going to be difficult for us to get to this year, but I certainly think we have a good shot of ending in the top 10 once more. We are also officially able to change Joe White to a center mid, so he should be getting even more boosts at that spot just in terms of his ratings. He was getting like a +1 before. I think he'll be able to get more than that. His role is box to box, but maybe we need to change that because it takes him way longer to develop box to box than it does something like playmaker or deep lying playmaker, which I'll have him do right now. As I feared, Yunusaman did ultimately request to be transferred here in the January window. Not happy with being put on the bench after all these years, being a starting center back for us. We were at least able to get a half of a season out of him off the bench, but we're going to have to go to, unfortunately, lesser backup center back options now, at least until some of these guys develop into the point where they're as good as Amon. But for now, yeah, it's a little bit of a hit to our substitutions. And as we get multiple offers, obviously just shout out Yunus Amon. Somebody here since season 1, lasting all the way to season 7 for us at the center back spot. Wasn't the plan, but he was one of my favorite players back when we first started this series. So I'm glad he lasted as long as he did, and I was honestly hoping we could keep him for even longer. All right, we're pretty late into the season here. We've got Everton, the team we'll be facing off against in this one. They are right next to us in the standings, and if we want to be inside the top 10, a win here against them could go a long way towards getting us there. They are just beneath us in the standings, and we don't want them to overtake us. We are currently top 10 heading into this one, and we'll pull out the gold kits here. And just like the first game, it's going to be a goal off of a deflection, but no, it isn't. He was offside. Hallelujah. Jason Clark plays one up to Patrick Higgins. I do like these gold unis, these Jordans. I think they're pretty nifty. Joe White with the header saved. That was a nice pass from Higgins. Stewart gets it to Higgins. Now another good pass from Patrick. Jason Clark, not the most talented of shooters we have on our team, though. He's certainly more of a defender, and that is a beautiful save from Kuhn. Jermaine Ratcliffe kind of got beat there, not something we see very often. White, up to Nelson, shielding off the defender and taking the shot, but it's saved. Speaking of guys with 99 ratings, I mentioned that Edward Johansson has 99 pace now. Finishing, attack power, and I think attack position are now all 99s for Marcus Nelson. So if you give him a decent shot, there's really a low probability that he won't at least get it on target. Castro spinning around, finding a man in the middle of the box, but that is a great play by Ferry to not give him any real angle to shoot, and that will be halftime. Still 0-0. We only managed to get off 3 shots in the first half. Not our way. Edward Johansson plays it up for Joe White. Continuing the advance here, Marcus Nelson. He'll find Edward Johansson. Johansson dancing, firing, and scoring! Edward Johansson. 10th goal on the season in Premier League play. That one was a pretty one. Just gets by the defender, loads up, and put a ton of power into this one. 107, I'm guessing that's kilometers an hour, since we're in England. I don't know. Joe White. Into the box goes Joe White, and oh, saved away. Kind of just snuck past the defense there. Garner, who has a yellow card, has the ball back. Everton working towards the middle. They get it there, but couldn't really do anything with it. 1-0 Warrington as we are in the 75th minute here. This Everton guy's got some moves, but the shot is saved by Kuhn. Castro with it. Another guy with some moves. Oh, he shakes 2 defenders, but the shot goes wide. He shook both Ratcliffe and Wagana. That is not an easy task to do in a matter of just like 2 seconds. Johansson to Nelson. Goal! And that one should put us in safe territory to take down Everton and increase our lead over them in the Premier League standings. And the Warrington fans out here seem pretty excited about it, and rightfully so. Everton still has maybe one more chance to get on the board, and the header from Castro is right into the arms of Oliver Kuhn, and Warrington takes home a 2-0 victory in this one. Still only got 8 shots off in this game. Everton's defense was pretty good. One of the more impressive defenses I remember facing recently. We just did not often have much space on our attack, and Oliver Kuhn with an 8.0 leads us in match rating. We came so close to winning the Carabao Cup this year. We ended up losing to Liverpool on penalties. So would have been a trophy we could have added to our case, but not this year. We will end our second season in the Premier League in the 7th spot. We were 1 point away from earning a Conference League bid and 2 points away from a Europa League bid. We were still, I think, a little bit far away. 7 points from a Champions League, and it'll be Arsenal winning the Prem this year. But we ended last year in 8th place. This year we are in 7th. So that is a nice 1-spot boost for us. At least I think we were in 8th. Somebody might correct me if I'm wrong on that. But I just remember we were top 5 until the very end. And then we dropped. It might have even been farther than 8, honestly, by the end. But either way, looking good. As long as we're seeing improvement year by year, I'm okay with it. Next year, man, I'd love a Champions League bid. Now it's time for an end of season recap, and we'll start here with the Youth Academy. With Riley Swift being 18 years old, I think I have to promote him now, or else I lose him. That's what happened with our goalkeeper. He was 18 and the season swapped over. So I'm going to promote him just in case. That might mess with his potential, which is not ideal, but I'd rather have the potential of messing with his potential than the potential of losing him. Our next, so we have a crop of 6 17-year-olds that'll all probably be getting called up next year, maybe except for the goalkeeper because I don't really need him. But probably all guys that we're going to send out on loan, including the guy that we already just promoted. And then we have some 16-year-olds, which we could promote. I think I'll probably keep all of these guys in. And then we have the young guns here in the lineup. And some of these guys we might just honestly take out of our youth academy. But the guys that I'm still excited about the most, Nicholas Lewis is very good, 6 playing styles. He's just plays a position that's very loaded for our team already, but he'd be a fun guy to have as a substitute over what we've had there. I like Isaac Allen a lot. I like Tyler Gordson a lot. I like Michael Bennett a decent bit, even though his potential is not quite as high. He does have a lot of play styles for center back. So those are probably the top guys for me in the academy as things currently sit. And now let's take a look at where our players will end season 7 at. Jack Stewart goes up 3 overall. He's an 81 overall for us. He ends up leading the team in appearances, tied with a lot of other guys who played every single match for us this year. He had no goals. He did get a couple of assists, though. Elias Ferre goes up 5 overall. That's probably going to be one of the biggest jumps on the entire team, excluding, of course, the lone guys. He ends up scoring 4 goals for us as well. Yomo Wagana goes up to an 83. Let's see, what is his first play style plus? Which one is that? It is Rapid. He has a play style plus now. Joe White, 8 goals, 11 assists for us this year, up to a 92 overall, and got his position updated to B center mid, which was a goal of mine. Patrick Higgins, 7.3 average rating on the season, 24 goals for him, 13 assists. 29 goals, 5 assists for Marcus Nelson, who's up to a 95 overall. Oliver Kuhn, 10 clean sheets on the year in 51 appearances. We actually did go to our substitute goalkeeper for a couple of matches for really the first time since Kuhn got promoted. Jason Clark goes up 4 overall. He had 3 goals, 7 assists, so 10 goal involvements here. Edward Johansson is now a 90 overall, which I believe means he should have a playstyle plus. He's got power shot at a playstyle plus. Scores 17 goals, has 3 assists on the year. Jermaine Ratcliffe is into the 90s. So we have 2 new additions to the 90 overall club this year. 6 goals, 2 assists for Matthew Stewart. Of the guys on our attack, that's certainly the lowest when it comes to numbers. He's also by far the lowest when it came to appearances as well, though, because of that stamina, which he does have to have as a mark against him. Ramos had 34 appearances, oftentimes coming in for Stewart. Cameron Jackson, once we recalled him back from loan, he actually started going up in overall, so I don't know what was up about that, but he ends up going up 7 to a 72 plus 3. 79 is where Ferrara will end, plus 2 for him. It's getting to the point where with Ramos constantly whining about playing time, Ferrara's close enough that we might just get Gabriel Ramos transferred next season. Jesse Miller, 9 appearances, 3 goals for him. Russell Fraser out on loan, plus 3 for him, +3 for Garcia, +3 for Alex Cook, +1 for Fraser out on loan. That's a little bit disappointing. We just saw Riley Swift. Hopefully, fingers crossed, he'll maintain his potential. Right now, he is an exciting prospect. We'll see if he still is. We also had to promote Callum Small from our youth academy because he demanded it. So he'll probably be a loanee next year. Freddie Bowden, +8 overall out on loan. Nick DeHaan, +2. Isaac Gordson, +4. Robin Clement, +3. Baker, +7. And then Peter Miller, +10. And Jaden De Bruyne, +9. So 2 really big boosts out on loan. Could these guys maybe start to challenge a Matthew Stewart for that right center mid spot? I think it's possible. De Bruyne does have 5 playing styles. Peter Miller has 3, but of course, Matthew Stewart's big calling card is he's the only player on our team with 7. Unfortunately, he just hasn't really he got his potential nerfed because he had to call him up late in the year, and it just never kind of went back up. And so it got up a little bit because at one point it was like 79. So going up to an 84 is good, but didn't get to the point where he could threaten 90 and then really be a special player. Of our 5 players in our attack, he's certainly, I think, the one whose job security is the lowest, but I don't know if I'm 100% convinced that anybody should take the job from him as things currently sit, but we'll see. The team's pretty good. Next year, we will finally get to a point where every single player will be an 80 plus. Ferre's the last guy, he's at a 79. So early on next year, we'll have our entire team rated at an 80 plus. And then the last thing I want to do here is show you our updated rankings as a whole. We are now an 87 attack, 82 midfield, 83 defense. So our defense has gone up a ton in rating over our first 2 years. We were started at a 75 up to an 83. Once we changed to the 4-3-3 holding, our attack was already rated an 87, so that hasn't changed. But our midfield has also gone up. That was rated high 70s. We are now a 5-star club and should theoretically be able to compete with anybody. If we could just get a little bit higher on those overalls on the back line, and apart from Ratcliffe, who I think is probably getting close to his ceiling just based on how much time it takes for him to upgrade at this point in his career, these other 3 guys still have a lot of room to grow. Across the board, I think we are starting to get close to our peaks everywhere except for on the defense. But we still have room to improve, which is good because we need to improve. We haven't even qualified for the Champions League, let alone won it yet. Our final ranking, 7th in the Premier League, semifinals in the FA Cup. I believe that's the furthest we've ever been there. Runner-up in the Carabao Cup and group stage in, again, I still don't know what that one is. The board is delighted with our performance in Season 7. And so we move on to Season 8, which will also be a part of today's episode. Hoping that we will breach the top 4 this time around. I certainly think the team is talented enough to do it. It was kind of the opposite of last year where maybe we took the Premier League by surprise in the first half of Season 6, and then they kind of caught on to us. This year, we kind of got off to a slower start, but towards the end of the year, we started winning a lot more games, and we climbed up to 7th place. So, here we are, start of a brand new year. We get a message here from Swift about being promoted. The first thing I want to do is check to see if he got screwed with his potential. Where is he? We have so many. He's still an exciting prospect, which is good. We have way too many CDMs. And I think it's officially time. Ramos, Keeps complaining about playing time. I think we just have so many other CDMs that we can let him go. And Ferrara can be our main guy off the bench because he's more happy with the playing time that he gets compared to Gabriel Ramos. All right, time to promote all of our 17-year-olds. I'm even going to do the goalkeeper. We have another one here. So in case I decide to play some youth tournaments, I didn't in season 7, which I know does affect how quickly players develop in the youth academy, but it's just not worth the squeeze at this point in the rebuild for me. Also thought about doing Lewis here. It was tempting, but I think we're gonna just stick with the 17-year-olds to promote. Pretty much all of them are going to be added to the loan list. Out of all of these guys, the one I'm the most excited for is Gordson. I've been trying to get a good backup striker, and Gordson might finally actually be it. He has potential to be special, so I imagine he'll get a pretty big boost out on loan for us. What to do with Peter Miller here is pretty interesting. It only takes him 2 weeks to become a winger. It takes him 94 to be a center mid, which just isn't really feasible. That's 2 years. So we can either just keep him as a cam, but train up his roles in the center mid, and maybe that ETA will come down, and maybe he has a chance to take that Matthew Stewart spot. Or we say he takes the Jesse Miller spot, becomes a winger, and we just get an upgrade at our backup winger spot, which I think is also worthy of some merit. We have one guy that we're planning on being a backup winger of the future in our youth academy right now, but we also have maybe somebody else who could challenge for the Matthew Stewart role in De Bruyne. He's a 75 overall. He's got some potential as well. So either way, we have somebody else to fill the role that Peter Miller doesn't. I think I'm just going to turn him into... man, this is tough. This is tough. I'm going to turn him into a winger. It takes 2 weeks. It just takes too long to turn him into a center mid. So he will be our top winger backup for this year. Ramos has been transferred out to Fulham for $31 million. We could have gotten a lot more, but I don't care. He stays in the Premier League. I don't know if he'll be a starter for that team, though. At an 81, it's hard to tell. Guess who we've got to start the brand new season? Again, that's right. It's Manchester City. We got to beat this team, man. I wasn't planning on playing the same team multiple times, but when you give me Manchester City to open the season twice in a row, I'm just not going to say no. And that is an early attack from Manchester City that is saved by Kuhn. That time, Ratcliffe shuts it down. And on the counter-attack we go. Stewart to Nelson. Joe White with it now. Joe White, what a pass into Edward Johansson. Score! Goal for Warrington FC. What a counterattack. And that pass from Joe White was perfect. And Johansson made sure to make the most of it here. I mean, just not a defender around Edward Johansson at all. Put that keeper in an impossible spot. Manchester City now on the attack. It's ahead for Erling Haaland. He's got Wagana on his back. Pretty big size mismatch there, but Haaland can't score it. Stewart. That's Jack Stewart, not Matthew. Up inside. Johansson takes the shot from just outside the box and sails it. Higgins. Ahead for Nelson. Nelson Searching, finding Johansson. Another shot from outside the box. This time it finds its way to the back of the net. Second goal of the match for Edward Johansson. That power shot playstyle plus seems to be working on him. And Holland with a good chance. But Kuhn with excellent reaction time again. And he'll get himself another save off of the corner. Clark to Johansson. Wagana into the box. Wagana tries to find Joe White, but it was just a touch behind him. Joe White in space. He's looking for a pass. Finds Stewart. Nelson. It's deflected, but right to Joe White. Goal! Oh, bad break there for Manchester City. They blocked the initial shot. But where the ball went is right where Joe White was going. And it left him an easy shot at the goal. Second time, Joe White's kind of just had himself all alone with the keeper in the box. Joe White for Stewart. That's a good ball. Stewart's shot goes just a hair wide. Nelson. So wide, and they won't let us finish off this attack. We'll be heading into halftime up 3-0 on Manchester City. I think there's a good chance we finally get our win against this team. Higgins for Jason Clark. Joe White with it now. Right back to Edward Johansson, and he's got a hat trick. Edward Johansson starting off Season 8 in style. Looking very dangerous on our attack. And this was just some great passing. Clark to Johansson to White. Back to Edward Johansson for the goal. Joe White with it again. Now Marcus Nelson inside for Johansson, and it's number 4. Edward Johansson. We're starting to see all that potential that we saw when we first called him up. I mean, that's the player he is now. And it is very fun to watch. A guy with really solid size at 5'11" with 99 pace. Yeah, that's pretty dangerous. As well as some shooting play styles that help boost how well he can shoot the ball. That's very good. We will not keep Manchester City off the board, though. Erling Haaland will do Haaland things to make it 5-1. 5-1 against Manchester City. De Bruyne, he's in the game. He finds Patrick Higgins. Higgins turning around, finding Joe White. I mean, just another beautiful attack for Warrington FC in this game. A 6th goal scored here against Manchester City. The first match of Season 8, and we are looking mighty dangerous. So much so that I would just sim out the rest of this game. 2-6 is your final. We are past the transfer window now, and we've got pretty much all of our lower overall guys now out on loan, except for Berger, who we're just keeping as our third goalkeeper. Everybody other than him under 70 overall is getting loaned out. We're already seeing some big boosts, including +4 to Gordson, which I like to see. +4 for our goalkeeper. Our biggest boost is, where is he? Isaac Allen, already up +6. So his Ferre here is he got some competition for being the center back opposite of Ratcliffe. Maybe he does. But he's, of course, still has a pretty big overall lead of 5 right now. But at least backup center back for next year looks like it's going to be Isaac Allen, if you had to ask me right now. But yeah, a bunch of guys out on loan. If you're wondering about squad finances at this point, Edward Johansson, we just renegotiated his contract like 1 day ago. He is now the top rated player in terms of getting paid. It's been Nelson for a really long time, and we just couldn't get Johansson below Nelson. And our three guys here in our attack are very, very high. The one guy I think that's probably the maddest with his pay on the team right now is probably Higgins. The one guy who's very grateful is De Bruyne. He just asked for so much in his negotiations, but he could potentially eventually be a starter for us. So that's why I was willing to give it to him. But yeah, Higgins at a 93, making less than De Bruyne is pretty unfortunate. So this is where we're at. Most of our players are now making double digits, although there's a few that aren't. But yeah, team's looking good. I'd also say probably Ratcliffe's not very happy. He might ask for renegotiations this year. In fact, I imagine he will. Most people with less than 2 will ask for it, as my phone is going crazy right now. But there it is. There is the situation for our finances. This might be the best player we've scouted in a while. Marcos Aurelio Becker, 6 to 7 playstyles with some massive potential as well. He is very young, and he does end up with 7. Only the second player we've gotten with 7 playstyles, all of them that you can start with. I know there's like ways you can give a player even more than that, but I really wish we got this guy earlier on in the series. He's got some sick dreadlocks, this Brazilian winger. As we reached January, there were a few players not very happy about being taken from substitutes down to reserves. They are now all gone. Paul Thompson, Jesse Miller, and Aaron Berger. Time for the Season 8 mid-season check-in, and this time things are looking great. We are currently in the top spots in the Premier League. We have 13 wins, 3 draws, 3 losses. Our 43 goals is the most in the Prem. Our 26 goals allowed isn't quite at the very top, but it's still good. And that's, again, just goes back to our team ratings. We are a much better offensive team than we are on the defense, and that's how we're winning our games. We're winning a lot of, 3-1, 3-2 kind of matches so far this year. We're just consistently putting up multi-score performances, and that's what's gotten us. We're averaging, that's 43 goals in 19 played. That's more than 2 goals a match. So, yeah, we're using our offense to get ourselves wins. As for our academy update, I did kind of just take some players off. I know it's not like technically the best thing to do, just release players. I could probably get some money for them, but since money isn't an issue, I just release the guys I don't really want. And so most of our academy right now is on the offense. We promoted a lot of defensive guys at the start of the year. And just so far, the scouting this year hasn't been kind on the defense. Of course, we have this really exciting new 14-year-old that I'm sad we probably won't end up seeing play. But nobody, I think, that's really eminent to come up except for maybe Nicholas Lewis. He's only a 63 overall, but he is 17 years old now, 6 play styles. And now he's even kind of overshadowed by Becker here. And then a midseason update on the guys out on loan. Smalls up 3. Shipper here's 4. Guy is up 3. Tyler Gordson up 6. Love to see it. 3 for Larry. 6 for this goalkeeper, Osman Kareku. Riley Swift is up 4. And then we're getting into some guys that aren't on loan, but +7 now for Isaac Allen, +2 for Bowden on his second loan, so you don't get as much on your second loan. Same for Bernd Bacher here. So that's a team. Not a ton of increases, of course, at the top. We start to develop pretty slow down here, but we do have a +2 already for Joe White. And then Stewart and Ferry also +2s. So we now have all starting 11 at 80 plus overall, which is nice. And we have 7 players now in the 90s. Oh my gosh, we finally got it, dude. I have been offered like 40 jobs around the world. And finally, we are going to be the head coach or the manager, whatever it's called in this sport, of the United States. So now I can go to the U.S. national team. What does my squad look like now? Let's go ahead and take a look. So, Jones. I remember Jones. He's from this team. We got, of course, Marcus Nelson. We've got Jason Clark. There's this Morris guy who is a generated player, but not one generated by us. On the bench is Moore. I mean, just a little bit of favoritism. He was in ours and Williams wasn't, so I'd do that for sure. Kelly is a 92. He's from the past with us, and another homerism here. It's the same overall. We're going with the guy that's on our team. Alex Cook is going to be the goalkeeper for the United States. We don't have anybody. No, we have the one player on the defense that's not on our team, but he was in our youth academy here. So probably got to figure out a way to get Kelly on the team. I mean, I'm not sure if this is the formation. We might need to do some sort of 2-striker formation with this team. The highest overall players are Nelson, White, Kelly, and Clark. Those are all the 90 plus overall guys we have. So, yeah, we got to figure out a way to get all 4 of those guys on the field. So let's go ahead and try it. So some 2-striker formations. This White's not great for. It might be this one right here. The 4-1-2-1-2 narrow. Jeez. This might have to be it. Yeah, let's put this. Let's play some 4-1-2-1-2 narrow. And then we got to fix some positions here because that certainly wouldn't happen. Oh, geez. Getting to the right player on this is terrible. And there's a pretty good cam here, Tillman. Oh, that does take out Jones. Jones is going to have to play right mid instead of right wing. Screw it. I don't care. Yeah, this is probably our best lineup. Although, yeah, that does take out Jones. Unless we want to force him to play out of position. He can play left mid. Oh, these are center mids, though. Man, he's fast. 98 pace. This might be the best overall, though. And it gets 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players who were at one point with Warrington on the field at once. And we're not done. We still got some USA players that'll be able to make this team. The final match of the season for Warrington FC. As long as we do not lose to Leeds United, if we win or draw, we will win the Premier League. So, we will be watching this one. And then also there's a chance that we win another trophy here in whatever this one is, the UECL. We have made the championship in that one as well. So we'll watch a couple of games here to close out Season 8. And who knows, I'm sure this will be more than one match total. just because I have no idea how things work, but we don't quite have everyone at full strength here for Leeds. I think what we might do is bring Ratcliffe on so that he'll be ready for the end of the match, potentially. And we might do the same thing for Stewart. So we'll start De Bruyne and Jackson. And that will be the plan here. Going up against Leeds United. No, I accidentally clicked the wrong button. I accidentally clicked the wrong button. I was meant to play this game, and we lost too. We might not win the Prem. We might not win the Prem. Although I think we still might have the tiebreaker. Oh boy. Oh boy. Let's go ahead and switch this over. What is going on here? Can you just show me my league, please? Why am I seeing a million leagues? Just show me the Premier League, please. What is going? Thank you. Holy moly. Okay, we will still win the Premier League. We had the goal differential tiebreaker over Manchester City. If a misclick had cost us the Premier League title, I would have been sick. But we will watch the finals of this other tournament we are playing in right now against whatever the name of that team is. I have no idea. We've also got player of the season. Will it be one of our guys? I mean, we did win the Premier League. It's going to be Erling Haaland. Okay. Yeah, tough to beat that guy. Even this far in the future. I think we're in 2033 at this point. Haaland's still just kicking butt. All right, it's the Conference League. We are quite a bit better than this LOSC team. They are rated at an 83 attack, 79 midfield, 80 defense. After another season of development, we are now rated at a 90 attack, 85 midfield, and 84 defense. Yeah, our attack has reached the 90s. That's how insane it is. I mean, it makes sense. Look at all the ratings of the guys on our attack. So apparently, if you win the Premier League and the UEFA Conference League, it's called a double. So we're going for a double, baby. Maybe even a double-double. Shout out 2K. All right. They're watering the grass. The fans are arriving. We've got the UEFA Conference League final upcoming. This is probably, it's got to be the biggest individual game we've played in this entire series. Look at that trophy. That's what we're playing for here tonight. And the away team, LOSC, has the ball first. Dancing and firing one in. We're not even 3 minutes into the match, and already we're behind 1-0. Igamane with a really beautiful-looking goal to kick off this game. I mean, he just kind of took Ferry for a ride. We switched off to Stewart, and then he just put it in the back of the net. Nelson has White, and maybe looked like we were going to have another easy Joe White goal, but there's a reason that looked so easy. He was offside. Wagana wins us back possession. Now he's got the ball off the feed from Joe White. Wagana, he's pretty fast himself. He'll just get the easy assist to Marcus Nelson, and we have tied this one back up at 1 apiece before we reach the 10-minute mark. Wagana, the one to make that play happen. Marcus Nelson, that's a tackle. Didn't really have anyone to pass it to, but we'll get the ball right back. Johansson lays it out for Matthew Stewart. He's been just a touch wide a couple of different times in this episode. Playing some defense now. This attack gets in the box, and it's Igamane again. This guy's a stud. Hamza Igamane, or yeah, I'm sure I've butchered so many players' names at various points in this series, but this guy is legit. We're behind once more. But we've seen just how potent this attack can be. Higgins dusting some defenders, finds Joe White. He'll take the shot, and it's over the top of the goal. We haven't even reached the 20-minute mark. This has been an action-packed match so far. Igamane! Watch out for that guy. Luckily, he didn't score that time. Marcus Nelson for Edward Johansson. Johansson just going horizontal. Couldn't really find anyone to pass to. Tries to get it to Marcus Nelson here, but the defense was pretty much perfect. Lofting inside for Igamane! I mean, yeah, you have to be aware of where that guy is at all times. Off the corner is lofted inside and hauled in from, or by Ollie Raccoon, shall I say. That's going to go out to the left wing where Johansson finds it. Passing up ahead, Marcus Nelson in the box. Lays it off for Joe White. Score! And we are tied once again. This little diamonds that we have with this new formation of Edward Johansson, Joe White, and Marcus Nelson here on the left side of the field is just so dang dangerous. Clark to Nelson. Nelson towards the middle. Matthew Stewart. Give Johansson a good ball, but that'll go a little bit too powerful from Edward. This one lofted through. Igamane. Will he get three? Yes, he will! Oh my goodness, Hamza Igamane. A first half hat trick. When's the last time a player had a hat trick against us in an episode? He's done it in a half. Ollie Raccoon doesn't know what to do with this guy, neither do our defenders. Still not to halftime yet. And we get a good stop there from Jermaine Ratcliffe. We'll have time for one more counter here before the half. Marcus Nelson sprinting into space. Finds Johansson! No, it's saved. But Joe White might get there before it's out of bounds. He will. Johansson gets one more shot. And it is, unfortunately, like right at the middle of the goal. Easy save. And into halftime we go down 3-2. That first half had more action than many of the games. That was crazy. LOSC Losh Lily would be my guess on how that's pronounced, but I'm just going to call him LOSC because I don't know any better. Igamane trying to score his fourth goal, won't get it. This time Ferre shuts him down. Higgins. He's got some grass in front of him. He's sprinting into it. Can we get a good counterattack here? Stewart will take the outside the box shot. Sailing it over the top of the goal. Johansson with it. Johansson into Marcus Nelson. That's tackled, but Peter Miller was right there behind him. And he scores his first goal that we've seen with Warrington FC. Usually comes in to replace a winger, but we had him replace Matthew Stewart at center mid, and this is an impressive shot. There were a ton of defenders in the way between him and the goal, and he got it through all of them. Nice job, Miller. So we're tied once again, but every time we're tied, that's when Igamane comes out to play. Higgins. He'll beat the defender to the ball. Now he's off to the races. You aren't going to beat Warrington FC in a foot race. That much I can tell you. Higgins to Clark. Joe White. Oh, good passing, and it leads to a Marcus Nelson goal. Wow. That passing from Warrington was just chef's kiss. Look at this. Just quick passes. 2 straight, just 1 touch. Ball's white. Johansson to Nelson. And the defense just had no time to react. Warrington takes their first lead as 4-3. This has been a crazy back and forth game. But it's really been that guy right there, Igamane, who's been their only threat. Goes for another one here, and Oliver Kuhn dives out and snags it. Can we go on the counterattack now? Great lofted ball from Magana to Johansson. He'll find Joe White. White keeps the defender on his back, finds Nelson again! Marcus Nelson. Now his 10th goal in this Conference League tournament. And Joe White, just a great job shielding off defenders, giving Marcus Nelson a good chance at goal. Jack Stewart, the good tackle, but not a great pass afterward. Luckily, didn't really harm us. We're just trying to run out the time now, or an extra time. So we are just moments away from winning the UEFA Conference Championship. Nelson with it. He's dancing. Nelson. We'll just pass it out to Jason Clark. They're not going to call full time yet. Nelson will just take the shot. Why not another for Marcus Nelson? My goodness. 6-3 in the final. What a crazy match. And that will have us as the champions of the UEFA Conference League tournament. Really love the celebration animations we get. These guys are having a blast, and the whole team huddled around the trophy. That's the shot right there that you just love to see. Such a great team. It's not the trophy that we're really aiming to get. It'll be that much sweeter once it's the Champion League trophy, but what a just crazy match. It's a perfect 10.0 match rating for Marcus Nelson. 4 goals and an assist. We needed him to have an insane game, and he came through better than he ever has before, maybe. And here we are, shortly after that win. Now parading down the streets with our double. 2 trophies to show off to our fan base. The streets of Warrington have enjoyed quite a few parades throughout the years. It looks really weird to see Oliver Kuhn in our normal kits instead of his goalkeeper kit, man. It just does not look natural. There he is right there on the right side of the screen. But Awesome stuff in Season 8. What a great season. Our best one yet. All right. Last thing to do here is to go through some final ratings for this season. We get some nice boosts. These last couple of guys we just added here late, so they don't have anything, but like a +6 for Brett Bailey's pretty good. Good plus, a couple +5s in here as well. So we'll see who we end up promoting for next episode. There will be at least one more episode. I would probably guess that there will be exactly one more episode of Warrington FC, just because I want to play a little bit with the national team. And I also want us to win the Champions League, because that was one of my episode 1 goals. And so I think we should be able to accomplish both of those goals in the next episode. So that will be the plan. Really fun episode today, especially Season 8. Getting to see one of the wildest games I've seen in EAFC, if not the wildest, there for that final match of the season. The team is very, very good heading into season number 9, and whether next episode will be 1 season, 2 seasons, it's really mostly just going to be focused on the Champions League, as well as some United States play here. We also got close in the FA Cup. We got to the semifinals this time. Didn't really get close in any other thing. So we almost had 3 trophies, but couldn't quite get there. And that will officially be the end of Season 8, and thus the end of the episode. I'm not sure when episode or when Season 9 Plus will be out, just because 2K is coming out, and I'll be focusing more on that series. And then Maryland's kind of in the middle of what I hope is a national championship run. So those 2 will be the main 2 that I'll be focusing on, but there will be at least one more Warrington FC episode. I just don't know. It might be a week, might be 2. I would guess it wouldn't be more than 2 weeks for us to wrap this story up, but just be prepared for a little bit of a gap before this next Warrington episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed this series as much as I have. I had a ton of fun learning how to play the game with this team, and we'll figure out how this story ends in the near future. And I'll see you then.